in our society. Some people who are negative, who do not know, who are in the wrong side of the law, it's not because they want or they're wired that way. It's the environment, it's the parenting, it's where they were brought up. So this is our own step towards doing the right thing, raising more godly children, to take over our communities and take over homes. So that's our plan, and that's God's ultimate agenda. So thank you for being here. I'm going to let Taiwo introduce our speaker for you today. He's well loaded. I've engaged with him for just 5 minutes, and I think I can parent like 62 children already. The man gave me insights. So please clap for Taiwo.
Thank you. I'm happy that we made this more open. We thought that it would be more beneficial to have a more open session than just restricted to people who are about to wed, right? Because we realized that we need to properly midwife the next generation, and I think beyond parenting as a community, we need to be more intentional about even the children around you, children in your community, how you sort of impact positively into their lives, nurturing the gifting, nurturing the grace, and helping them answer questions, because we're in a generation where I was brought up not to ask why. And now in this generation, my child, I realize it seems like every one of them have a sort of unique thing going on around that generation. Every child in this generation born now knows how to access YouTube easily, right? They know how to unlock password of phone. I thought it was just my child, but when I asked other parents, said my child actually cracked my phone, opened my phone door. Right, my wife has changed her password about 3-4 times, and my son has decoded it every time she changed it. Right, so it tells you that the wiring of this generation is sort of different. We need to be empowered. I don't know about your kids; maybe it will be a lot more different. But I think that we need to empower ourselves so that not just our kids, but for Nigeria to raise better children. Have more community programs that bring children, together and just ask them questions and engage them properly. Thankfully, we have a wonderful speaker in our midst. It was thanks to Pastor Martins, he made it happen. Is Kingsley Obom-Egbulem. I hope I didn't murder the name, but he's the author of a critically acclaimed book, When Fishes Climb Trees, a talent management manual for parents, and soon to be released, Letter to My Future Son-in-Law, a book that talks to boys about positive masculinity, respect for girls, and give them enough reason to aspire into wholesome men, husbands, and fathers. He's trained as a journalist, a broadcaster, and worked as a correspondent and communication specialist for several media and development organizations before venturing into social entrepreneurship. He has spent the last 2 decades working with children, teenagers, and counseling parents on diverse aspects of parenting and child development. He's the founder of The Nest, a dream incubation hub for teenagers, and currently heads the Junior Church of Daystar Christian Center. Kingsley is the host of Mahood, a weekly talk show for men and fathers, a weekly talk show for men and fathers on CT 105.1 FM Lagos. A strong advocate for adoption. Yeah, interesting. Kingsley is married to a woman, and they are blessed with 4 children. Before he comes up, he has asked us to play about a 15 minutes video. Then he would take the mic.
No, whichever you want to do. Whatever is fine. Yes, I want to get we should get the lecture, right?
Thank you. So sorry, please. Good afternoon. I'm feeling very uncomfortable. Yeah, the 5-star introduction. Oh, wow. Okay, thank you. This is part of the fight. This is 6th-star introduction. All right. I'm just going to set the background for a conversation, right? I always prefer having conversations than just talking and preaching and sharing. So, for somebody who is used to teaching kids, I always assume every audience are children. So, I hope you don't mind if I can convert you right now. Do you mind? And it's very simple. I just need to say, hello, children. So we're good to go. That's the first ground rule, and you obeyed it well. Okay, there's a scripture that is so dear to me. It's Job 20:39. Sorry, please. I started coming to terms with this scripture. First of all, I didn't even know the scripture existed. Job 39:13-18. I was searching for, this thing they talk about playing the ostrich, right? You heard about playing the ostrich? You don't? They said the ostrich buries his head in the sand. And that's a way of trying to protect himself from responsibility. So, but there's a way the scripture describes the ostrich in Job 39. So, do you project?
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay, good.
There's one behind, I think there's one in front next to it.
Oh, fantastic.
Do we need to move your seat backward?
No, I think I'm fine. So he said the wings of the ostrich wave proudly, but what are they? No, I don't like this translation. Please give me
KJV?
New King James Version.
NKJV?
Yes.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah. So he said the wings of the ostrich wave proudly, but are her wings and pinions like the kindly stalks? Go on. For she leaves her eggs on the ground and warms them in the dust. She forgets that a foot may crush them, or that the wild beast may break them. She treats her young harshly, as though they were not hers. Her labor is in vain without concern, because God deprived her of wisdom. And did not endow her with understanding. When she lifts herself on high, she scorns the horse and its rider. A lot of us were raised by ostriches. Yeah. Can you give me the Message translation of that Bible, of that verse? Job 39, verse 13 to... Okay, so I need somebody to volunteer this reading. Or we read it together. Should we do it together? We're in a children class, right? Okay, so let's go. 1, 2. Stop. Are there parents like this? Those paparazzi parents. Very all put together. When they are doing school runs in the money, the cars they used to drop the children in the money is different from the cars they used to pick the kids. You know them?
Yes, sir.
They can't wear the same cloth in the morning and in the evening just to pick their kids from school. That's how vain they are. They are so detailed with how they want to be seen. They can actually send the driver to go and pick the kids alone if they can't change into something else. And then when they're going to pick their kids from school, and the other woman comes in an SUV, and she got there in a small car, like, come on, how did this happen? Tomorrow, I'm coming with the SUV. It's not about the child, okay? So let's go, please. Next verse. Okay. Sorry, who? You know the wild animals? Can you give me an example now? I love that. The media. The media. No filtering. No gatekeeping. Everything goes. Everything goes. You know, I was telling a parent who was, she was asking me, what was that question now? She said, yes. She said, I don't want influences. I don't want negative influence. I was laughing. You know why? The children are following all the celebrities in Nigeria. So what is that? The word influencers. You're already following influencers, and you say you don't want influences. They are influencing you right in your bedroom. All right? Next. Finally, so there are characteristics that you see exhibited in children, and you ask yourself, God, why are you this wicked? Why would you give these people children? But the truth is, we know how to make up for certain things that we consider a priority that we don't have when we need it. For instance, if you have a car and you're not very smart with regards to fixing the car, you know how to go look for the best mechanic in town, isn't it? So it's really not a problem that God did not give the, like Scripture says here. I know there are some commentaries that will explain this very well to us. So if you know how to make up with what you don't have, with regards to your other areas that you think I'm not so endowed here, but when it comes to making the best out of your children, you have to go out of your way to fill up whatever gaps exist. And so that's why I'm so glad that we're having this conversation and you guys have decided to do this. It's not normal. No. It's not normal. It's not what churches do. Hello? Now, this is not a normal church initiative. So just in case you want to take this, somebody wants to clap? Okay. So, and this is not flattering. I have been to churches where somebody said, I've never heard about family, the word family in this church since I joined. Yeah. It's all Faith. Grace. No, not grace. I think this guy is so big on he's so big on he's so big on the prophetic. Yeah, he's so big on that. He's big on that's this word. So family? No. And I was like, come on. The people you lead here are coming from somewhere. They're coming from somewhere. And so if you're not interested in the composition, the health of the house, of the real church, because that's the real church, right? If you're not interested in that, then I'm sorry. All right, so I'm going to set this further. There are three phases you need to consider in parenting. 3 phases. And some of you, if you're honest enough to rewind the clock and play your video, you'll see something here. Now, the first phase is 0 to 6. And I'm going to emphasize this because, Martin's told me, everybody here is a young parent or aspiring parent. So I think it's important that we get this set. Some of us were lucky. I use that word not for lack of the right word. Pardon me if you don't believe in luck. What I'm saying is that some of our kids turned out well despite our ignorance of these phases. I think God just had mercy on us. It wasn't that we're smart. But now we know. And so while we're trying to rework and see the gaps we need to fill, it's important that you know where you missed out, and so you can quickly plug and catch up. So, the first phase is the age of indoctrination. The age of indoctrination, 0 to 6. Here, you can practically get away with so many things. You can lie to your kids that angels have wings and that the devil has. You can get away with it. You can do anything that you have the vision to do. You can tell them that if you are not kneeling by your bedside, your prayers will not be answered. No problem. But if you understand what it means to indoctrinate, this is when to do it. And if you have the right thing to indoctrinate them with, this is your opportunity. 0 to 6. Now, when you're done with this phase, you have the next phase, which is called the age of consolidation. So you're done with indoctrinating the child. So it's now time to consolidate on what you've done. Remember, if you lied during indoctrination, you have to you have to layer the lie. You have to pepper the lie further. Garnish the lie, that's it. Take it to another level. So that's why indoctrination is dangerous. Especially if it's faulty. You know what I mean? So, those of us who were told, so many things, and I can point to 1 or 2 of them, that if you touch somebody, you will get pregnant. And later find out, I'm touching this person and there's no belly. I better take it to the next level. You get it? So, that did not happen at 0 to 6, but there were other misconceptions. There were other lies. There were half-truths, there were lies, complete lies that we were told 0 to 6. And now it's time to consolidate. And then what do you do? Light still hasn't come to you. You have not built capacity. You haven't exposed yourself to the right knowledge. So you start to consolidate on what? On the faulty foundation you've laid. So, but if you did well, if you are able to help your children see the world, even as young as 0 to 6 is, if you are able to help them see the world in the right perspective, you're going to have a good time consolidating. So, when you're done consolidating, it's now time for the work. You spend another 6 years to do that, 7 to 12. And that is when Jungle is a marshal. The moment that time comes. So they tell you the teenage years, the teenage years is stormy because the first 2 phases we have messed up. You're going to have a hard time. You must reap. You must reap it. There's no way. And so for me, the danger is in now trying to... Okay, so let me share with you the age of clarification. Now the child is beginning to question. Starts to interrogate all those things. And because it was faulty initially, so what are you going to clarify? My experience, I remember there was a day my daughter was asking me, or she asked me, she said, Daddy, what is the meaning of praise and worship? I said, praise and worship. I said, why are you asking? He said, we were in church today. And one auntie kept saying, sing, sing, sing. You are not grateful to God. Sing. So, and she is the, those children whose mind, they look small in their body, but their mind is not the mind of a child. So she's the very reflective type. She'll just be looking at you. But as she's looking at you, she has taken you around the universe. And she'll bring you back. So I said, so what the auntie was doing, what exactly? She said, she was like punishing people who were not singing. I'm like, so what's the big deal with this singing thing? So she really wanted to understand if this praise and worship is so important. What's it? And I've never thought about it. We met it that way, Abby. Yes. So I'm like, praise and worship. So while I was reflecting, she said, so Daddy, if there's no praise and worship, would the service hold? I said, praise and worship, service. The service can hold. I said, but praise and worship. He said, so do we? The questions were just coming. To her is that when I go back next Sunday, I want to have a case. So that I don't need to wait for this. And my daughter is this kind of person who, she gives you the impression that, look, I'm okay. Don't shout. Don't punish me. I know the right thing to do. That's those kind of, those kind of kids. Yes. They are very, they're too much. I was sharing with your pastors before I came on that. There's a movie called Fighting Temptation. You know that movie? Yes. My own movie is Fighting Hypocrisy. Because of that girl. You can't afford to be caught. I'll share a story with you. I hope I have the time. Anyway, I started asking uncles of God. I said, bros, why would they do praise and worship? Oh boy. Why do we do praise and worship? No. Why do? Myself, I don't know. Why do we do praise and worship? Why do we do that? Why do we do that? Is it just singing? She has that. Is it just sing? So praise and worship. So we worship God. So if we are not singing, we are not worshiping. Anyway, it took me like a month. The day I found the answer, I hope it settled a lot of things. You can help me out. This is one of the times I'm running this by adults. When we come into God's presence, the Bible says, enter into presence with praise. It's called with praise. So enter into his presence. Enter into his court. And God is a king, isn't he?
Yes, sir.
So, I was born in Benin. And those days, we used to hear legend stories that the Oba, when he's sleeping, it is a human being that crows for him. You heard the cock crows, huh? So when the Oba is sleeping, it's not the cock that crows for him to wake up. It's a human being that crows. So when that human being crows, the Oba wakes up. And you can't wake the Oba and say, no. A human being will have to crow. And when you crow, the Oba wakes up and comes out. Now, if you crow and the Oba didn't come out, you chill. So when there are important guests, the Oba needs to sit them. The guy crows again. Now, there's a level of crowing that even the Oba is like, come on. I mean, this one don't pass. So the Oba steps out. But he won't come to the outer court. He will stay in the inner court. So the chiefs will go and meet him there and bring whatever tidings on, But there's some level of tidings, gifts, and crowing that will move the Oba right from where he's sleeping into the... Now that's a human being, right? So I told my daughter that when we come into the church or wherever it is, we've come to hear from the king. We need to hear from the king. We need to engage. And so how do you enter into his presence? You need to do what? You need to oriki. You need to praise. You need to worship. You need to pour, is it libation now, whatever it is? Praise. You need to. So when the king hears that, come on. I have people who want to see me. And they are already eulogizing. There's a tribute going on. There's praise. There's worship. And what happens? The king will step up. So, why do we have worship leader? Where are you leading us to? You lead somewhere, isn't it? You're leading us to somewhere. And the place you're leading us to, you must be familiar when you get there. Otherwise, what will happen? You miss road. So the worship leader ordinarily should understand the presence of God.
Yes, sir.
So when you hear, we can feel his presence, it's not imagination or because of lack of what to say. You should know that God has entered this place. And when he comes, there are things you can see as indicators of his presence. There's healing. People are hearing things. Revelation. And then the leader can tell us, let's welcome his presence. He's here now. But that doesn't happen anymore, does it? Yes. It seldom happens. It happens. Fantastic. Fantastic. So you guys are not just singing songs, have you? Yes, you're not just singing songs, right? Yes, so, I told you it took me 1 month to answer this girl's question. So you know what she said? She said, Daddy, this is not what we do. This is not what we do. All these things you are saying. No. We just sing. Can you relate to that?
Yes, sir.
So praise and worship is not the first item. It's not the first item on the order of service. It's actually an attitude that we engage because we want to, one, see the Father. We want to feel His presence, and we want to have that, sorry for my lack of intercourse with Him at the end of the day. Age of clarification. That was where we were. Huh?
Yes, sir.
So, how many parents have a lot of clarifications to do that they've not been able to live up to? My daughter said, Daddy, what do you benefit when you marry as a virgin? Everybody has been talking virgin. So it's like, this thing is a big deal. She's not about to be this virgin. She just wants to, I want to hold it. So that when you pressure me, I do what? I respond. I throw it at you. So, hello. Have you ever been told the benefit of being a virgin? You discovered it. Huh? Sorry? Didn't hold anything. It didn't hold anything. So the age of clarification, unfortunately, that's where some parents just appear. They just show up there. They've never been there. No indoctrination, no consolidation, and then you just pop up. You want to do what? Clarify. What are you clarifying now? So you start to have problems with that child. You're going to have problems with that child. And what most parents rely on is there's an instrumentality of control. So you contain the child. So you see a child who is outspoken, outgoing, the child just waiting for when they will just escape. And once they escape, forget it. They're gone. So that's where we are. That's where we are. And so we need to be careful what we do during these phases and how we leverage each of them. I was sharing at a meeting before I got here, and I said I was sharing with them on parenting teenagers. And I said, no, you don't parent teenagers. You lead teenagers. So the question was, what's the difference between the two? I said, oh, sure. Leadership is leadership. There's no... Leadership is leadership. The same way a woman submits, it's not because the guy is too... She decides to say, guy, stay for front, let me stay back. Am I together? Yes, sir. So that's nobody breaks my head. Because I believe in marriage, a man and woman, we're not equals. Do you agree with me? Yes, sir. In marriage, outside of marriage, we are equal. Yes, sir. But the moment you enter, we are no longer equal. There's number one, there's number two. We have to settle that. But the problem is, Oga, when you are not qualified to be number one, you can't go say, make I wear number one trouser. There will be problem. There'll be big problem. Because we are going to be submitting to somebody who does not even know the trouser that he's wearing. That this trouser is not a beans. So the lady is going to struggle submitting. And sometimes you can't blame her. So when you try to parent a teenager that you should be leading, control is what you're going to be relying on. The same way some guys want to control a woman that they should be leading. So because this woman is apparently big, and you ask, God, where did I find this girl? This is bigger than me. Instead of you to increase your capacity, step up, get help. You say, no. You? You may decrease. And I may increase. And so for you to lead her, you have to you have to reduce her to the point where no. Calm down. So I can control you and provide leadership. So a lot of parents do that for their teenage kids. So to lead that teenager, you must control her. But control never works. The expiration date is so short. The moment they gain that admission, Otilo, it's over. And then you started asking, what did I, sorry. This journey started at after. And you see, if you are a parent and you know what to do, 12 years is enough to do it. Yes, 12 years is a long time. You know, I tell parents, and those of you who are about to start, my dear, at the age of 10, sorry, anything you can't do by the time your child is marking their 10-year, sorry, you've missed out. Anything you can't do. If by 10 you are still having, that's an indicator that please get help fast. That's the truth. It means there's something this child knows that you don't even know. And also at that age, you are reaping the seed of what you've sown. So the teenage years is like dividend, harvest time. And you see, the thing about harvest, you must reap it. If you don't like the harvest, do something about the planting and the seeding. Do something before the harvest shows up. You know. Do something before the harvest. All right? Still setting the foundation for, like I said, I'll prefer we take questions, right? So, all right. Now, these are for me red flags that I'm trying to just put here. Now, there are some of us who we were fantastic kids. With or without our parents, we made up our mind to turn out well. Yeah. As a matter of fact, our parents were a distraction. Yeah. So you now look at you who you've made up your mind that, look, I want to be a good child. And then somebody's stressing your life. Bringing in things and you're like, guy, I don't plan, say, I want to do it right. So, don't take your kids for granted. those of your kids who are not giving you stress, please don't take them for granted. And because you see, I know guys who, they were very good kids, and you know what? Their parents were focusing on the black sheep in the house. So, because they know that, John, so what Jide would do, and I know now, Shabina, you just always keep bringing disgrace to this family. Then you do the same thing. Like, I expected you to do better. See this man, me that have made up my mind, I want to do well. You're trying to, you get it, but so you become depressed, you become discouraged, and you say, look, I don't even want to. Let me just do my thing. Because you see that child who is giving the house, the entire home, sleepless nights, they seem to be paying attention to that child. Can you feel me?
Yes, sir.
So, okay, I think I want this attention too. I was working with a family last time. If I tell you what the boy in school, he's an attention seeker. And the reason he was seeking attention was that he wasn't getting validation and all those things. Guess what? He started stealing. The first day he stole, it was on the assembly ground. And the boy was feeling very cool. Say, see me. He continued to steal and break the law. So it was the day they said, come, your father is so rich. You have everything. Your provision box is loaded. The guy said, to hell with provision box. I want the floodlights. And if I can't get it by ticking all the boxes as far as academics, then let me get it this other way. So the guy will punch people, kick them, do all sort of things, and they'll call him out on the assembly ground, and inside him, he's like, see me now. This is me. Well, I go know me for this school. Guess what? The attention was dopamine. Yeah. Terrible thing. The day, if you knew how long it took to get the boy to that point of confessing, why do you steal? Why do you do this? Thank God it wasn't too late. Now he's getting affirmation. But you see, he has enjoyed the spotlight that comes with truancy and rascality. Please keep this thing. I want this. As at the time we're meeting, he has gone to like 4 schools. Yeah. Because how do you explain a child who is not kleptomaniac? Is he Okay. No, these days English is a favorite person. He's not kleptomaniac. But steals. He doesn't, the things he steals, he has them. You are stealing Milo. You're stealing sachet, Milo sachet. You have tin that has not been opened. So what's the point? All right. There's a movie. There's a video I want us to see. I'll just tidy up this. And yes, please. Start from minute 3. Let's look at this video, and then we'll take our questions. And you don't have to base your question on the video, but we can just have a broad conversation. All right, let's go.
Understand why every other child will come to her, give lists. This is what they wanted. I didn't ask for anything.
Sorry.
I was just there.
Start from one. Start from one. Okay. Yes, please.
The first child of 3 children. I have always been big. Always been the biggest in my class. being the biggest at events, being the biggest at family functions, at children's gathering. And then you hear words like Orobo, Mama, Elephant, words like that being hurled at you, to an extent where I started internalizing those words. And then I started feeling like a misfit, factory reject. I started feeling like there must be something wrong with me for people to start using. I never heard nice things being said about me. And they would say it with jeers. They would say it with mocking laughter because they didn't understand what those words were doing to me silently. And so I internalized those words and at a point started saying it back to myself and started believing who they said I was. So I went to, lived my life through secondary school with those words. I became extremely quiet. I started living my life through books. I would dig into books. I was just a child that loved to, read. Now I had parents. My mom was a sanguine, as in someone, you understand how sanguines are, parties. She loved us. She raised us, like the other speaker said, they reared us. As in, she didn't know. They didn't know what they were doing. So they just, like every other child is living. So that time she's okay, she's fine. But there was something that struck her. She didn't understand why every other child would come to her, give lists. This is what they wanted. I didn't ask for anything. I was just there. Whatever you gave to me, I would take it. So I went to the university. First year, I met this guy. And the guy said, "Hello, beautiful." And I'm like, where? How? Who? Beautiful? That's not a term that is, used with someone like me. And then the guy started writing me love letters. You need to see this guy. He was, we that read books, News and Boons in those days. He was that kind of spec. Tall, as in, he wasn't dark. He was tall, broad shoulders, chiseled abs, watery eyes. I mean, you would look into his eyes and you could see that this is where my life ended. Those kind of people. And this guy said I was beautiful. The guy became my master, as in, long and short of the story, I followed every instruction he said. If he said, don't go to class today, I wasn't going to class. If he said, yes, because that was the only person that I had heard the word beautiful from. And so this person was actually my savior. God must have sent this guy to me. So long and short of the story, I got pregnant. Now, my dad is an academic. That my dad was a professor of medicine. You don't expect that from your only daughter. I was the one that took after him mentally. So you don't expect that kind of behavior. So I was like, I was going for an abortion. And I told the guy, I said, my dad will kill me. As in, that was the word. I wasn't going anywhere. So we got to the hospital. And then the taxi that took us, the driver said, is this what you are coming from? And the driver started talking and started saying he was married to somebody. And the person didn't have, he had been married to someone for 13 years. The woman couldn't have kids. Now he got a second wife. The same thing is happening. That if this is what you are going to do, don't do it. And so I didn't do it. I stayed pregnant for 9 months. Guess what? I was in that house and nobody knew. 9 good months. I was pregnant. My mom took me to a gym because I've always been big. And so I was at home after university. I was just there. My mom said, okay, enroll in a gym. I was going to the gym. I was riding cycles. I was on treadmill and I was pregnant. Now we got home. The day I was going to deliver, I started having, my mom was confused, like, what's wrong? She thought it was those things that maybe your intestine, got together and everything. And so my mom used to be head of, a federal government parastatal in Ibadan. So it was during the festive season we had come to Lagos, and then my dad was at home, my mom got me to the hospital. And then I entered the doctor's office. I just told the doctor, see, don't waste your time. This is what is wrong with me. The whole hospital scattered. they were running here, test, this, that. Have you done scan before? No. Have you done any antenatal? No. Did you do anything? No. Do you have? No. Everybody got, scared. They were just running. Long and short of the story, I had the child. And then my mom didn't know what to tell my dad because I'd been with my mom in Ibadan. And she can't believe that actually I was in that house and they didn't know I was pregnant. There's no how my dad would believe that story. So, we got, and I got home with the baby. And then I told my dad the next morning, I'm sorry. My dad was like, sorry for what? Unknown to me, my dad had the dream that I got pregnant and I did an abortion and I died. And he had told my mom, but, I was just a child that they didn't ask anything. I was just there. She just, so they didn't know what to do. And my dad, there was one thing I later realized that, parents make mistakes. They have made some mistakes, but they portray this face of saints to us. And so we have this fear of even going with our own little mistakes. And then we end up doing worse. We make another mistake to cover up the mistake. One thing my dad did that was very good, or maybe he realized, he said, when the young man that got me pregnant came in and said, my dad said, you don't have to marry this man. Don't cover up a mistake with another mistake. That was one thing my dad said till now that the guy felt offended, like, in this day and age where people just want to push their daughter to the person that got them married, why would what's wrong with me that your father would say, don't marry me? But my dad, in retrospect, now started thinking, I must have done, and in the later years of his life, started, trying to correct those mistakes, started telling me things they had done in universities that were wrong, and, these were normal things that we did, but you could not even tell your parents. You can't gist about university days like you went to party. Is it your mates that they are looking for in the party? Which is a normal thing. The normal thing you say, okay, see, I did this when I was in school. This is what happened. When you get there, don't do this. But our parents don't do that with us. They make us feel as if, the way they were born after Jesus Christ, they are the next in line. And so you look at them like, me that are fucked up, how do I go and meet this Jesus Christ assistant and tell him that, I have sinned? So we are not able to do that. And so, our children get into more mistakes and more mistakes. So like the other speaker said, watch the words you say to your kids. And then there are some people that are extra sensitive with words. They have a portion in their brain that store up these things, and then they repeat it to themselves. One of the things that helped me, that brought me back and started allowing me to have high self-esteem, is affirmations. Because words can destroy you. Words can bring you.
Okay, you have the link. Yeah. So I started a project last year. It's curating parenting stories. So I have a lot of friends who Martin featured during this series. So we're starting the next series shortly. So I thought I should share this with you, just to cap up the foundation, the background that I'm trying to lay. I know very well you've taken so much from here. The summary of this whole thing is, if you can spell relationship, please spell it with your kids. If you understand bonding, please spell it with your kids. But most importantly, if you're not okay with where you're coming from, please own it, come to terms with it, but make a commitment not to repeat it. Make a commitment not to repeat it. Because what usually happens is we find ourselves repeating those mistakes. By the time we realize that we have made those mistakes, it's too late. We've reproduced after our kind. So be deliberate about it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
So if you've got questions, and great. So we just create some order around the Q&A, and then I can.
So we have about 30 minutes for, let me just check the time, 30 minutes for questions and answer. Just make it short. And so the whole idea is to have more conversations than, just doling out, principles. So, and you can get the best out of these sessions. All right. Yeah, you can come forward.
Hi, Pastor Kingsley.
How are you?
I'm good. So, little backstory. We homeschool. And as far as the big picture goes, we're both on the same page. But there are tiny, tiny things, very, very insignificant, you may say, that we kind of don't agree on. For instance, I tell my son, pull up your pants. Yeah? He says, wear your pants. And yes, we agree that we homeschool, but the fact is he goes out and with the child most of the day. So, homeschooling is crazy. You have 2 kids, you're doing like 3 activities. You're homeschooling, you're trying to cook, you're trying to do that. So I go, he goes to use the restroom and he's coming out and I go, pull up your pants. But he says, wear your pants and pull you up. I say, pull up. Yeah. Yeah.
I say pull on or put on.
No, you say wear. You say where. And then for, like, when he wants him to put it on, he says put, I say pull up. Okay, when I say pull down, he says remove, right? So it's confusing the boy. Okay. So now I'm trying to, do crazy things, and then he's coming out with the pants around his ankles. And I go, pull up your pants, and he's doing this. Like, he's trying to take his pants off. Yeah. Yes? And it's very insignificant if you think about it. I mean, it's just a word. Yeah. But the child is confused. So now we have a situation where he's removing his pants. I'm trying to run after his sister. I probably have, a pot or something on the stove. And then I'm still trying to say, no. Pull it up. And he's confused. He doesn't know what to do. And to me, I feel like it's insignificant, yeah? But it's frustrating for me for those kind of days. Okay. So I tell him, please, let's use the same word with Zodem. But he goes, it's the same thing. And I don't actually understand how to explain to him how this is affecting me. Because if you really think about it, it's not something that should cause a problem. Yeah, but it's causing a problem because of how it's affecting me mentally. So how do we deal with that kind of situation?
Okay. I have a similar situation in my house.
So let me, before you answer, would you like to take 2, 3 in a pack? Then
okay, sure, that's fine.
Yeah. So we have one question online. So we'll take that. But so that we make best use of the time, if you have any question, can you just raise your hand so that
or you can also pass slips for those who don't mind.
Okay, so I can pick your faces, then call you afterwards. Yeah, no need.
If you take too many questions, I can forget to. So.
Bulk of 2. Okay, so let me read the one online since we have one. Okay, so this person is in the UK. How do you guide your kids in content that they are exposed to, especially around LGBT community? You want to walk them in a way of understanding sexuality, but at the same time, not look down or avoid the people dealing with that's weird. I think it's a word. It's not dealing with WITIT. Is there? I don't know whether it's dealing with it. Okay, dealing with it. Okay. Okay. So first question is language. Okay. Operating the same language for the kids and.
Yeah, I think while it might look simplistic to dismiss what you have as semantics, it's also about agreeing on what is best. And the example I was going to share with you, my wife came from a more privileged home. But somehow, I happen to have a better grasp of language, use of language. And that was because I was raised in the missions house. I was raised by Reverend Fathers. At some point in my life, I went to live in the missions house. So I started engaging with this guy. So that influenced my diction. So, and you know, for those of, is anybody from Port Harcourt here? Yes. You know, you guys speak a lot of pidgin English. Yes, sir. So my wife is from River State. So, and pidgin is a lingua franca. But you see, ironically, I am a Bende boy. When it comes to pidgin, I'm supposed to have the botanical language. But somehow, it just vanished. So in my house, when my wife is angry, she switches and she gives the, you know, the happy Port Harcourt boy, you. So my kids are like, Daddy, what's mommy saying? So I say, I beg Mona, no, they tell me that thing, oh, what's rubbish? So we had to agree. So, if you want to admonish them, please don't get angry. And so when you're speaking in formal English, you tend to be in charge. You get it? Because while you're using, racking, looking for the right things, you mellow down. So that worked. Yes, and the children, they are like the arbiter in this instance. They are the ones giving us the feedback. So that settled it. So in your case, it's a contest between formal English and informal English.
No, mine is also formal. I say take off. I don't say where.
Good.
I say take off your pants.
So, yeah, it's still part of it. It's in contest. Take off is different from pull up.
Can I just say that? Yeah, I use language as an example.
Yes.
But it's not just language.
Yeah. So what needs to happen between the two of you is ground rules. Set your ground rules and stick by it. Not as simplistic, but it will work. Ground rules, like in my house, I'm the one that admonishes. And the reason is I do it very well. I do it very well. I don't shout, but when I admonish you, Yusuf, you go trust God. So you just hear things, go and talk to her. Go and talk to her. It's time for work. And you know, the way I do my thing is, I usually start with a question. I can ask questions like, how intelligent do you think a goat is compared to a human being? Once I ask that question, they know where this man is going. So the child starts to think the questions, if you can answer my questions correctly, we have solved the problem. No flogging, no smacking. Is a done deal. So you are able to move the child from that ground zero where they committed that crime or that misbehavior to a higher level where they can, you know, someone says, where you were when you caused the problem, it can't be the same place where you need to find a solution. So move people from where they were to a place that is high for you to help them solve a problem. You know, so both of you agree. This is strength, this is weakness, this is strength, this is weakness. Let's play to our strength. And then let it roll. So that's the way I think this should, especially because you are still at your 0 to 6, right? Please maximize it.
Thank you.
Maximize it.
So the second
All right,
one about
homosexuality. If I weren't a Christian, I would have read this up, and this is what I would have found. A man would have been born with a womb if he were designed to carry a child. A woman came with a womb for one reason. What's that? But not they stay for inside womb now. Abi? It's for a baby. You can choose not to put a baby there. That's your decision. But this is the design. Now, if you were designed with a womb, it means that at some point in your life, a baby is meant to be in that womb, isn't it? And you need to have a relationship with a human being who has the capacity, the design to put something there. It's as simple as that. So if you can explain that to your child in simple terms, you prepare the ground for a conversation around homosexuality. Secondly, light. God did not create darkness. True or false? He created. The reason darkness is because. So, homosexuals are a function of the absence. So, when you start feeling affinity to a man, darkness has come in. Something is wrong. So it's not a problem, but we can correct it. Accept that it is wrong. If you accept that it is wrong, we're not going to condemn you. We're not going to kill you. No. But we will talk this and get you to a point where we need to get it out. Secondly or thirdly, if you listen to people who were homosexuals, who were gays, and now they are no longer having affection for the opposite sex, at some point in their lives, a majority of them, not all, were tampered with. And that tampering is a destruction of what God has created. Whether it was by mom, whether it was by dad, whether it was by a family member, whether it was by a friend, or just being exposed to inordinate content, like porn, or whatever it is. Whatever distorts the original plan of God that makes a child start to feel affection for somebody of the opposite sex is perversion of God's plan. So, the only problem that exists now is that what I just said now, if you say it on TV, you will dodge stray bullets. Because those who own these narratives that I just shared with you are not as powerful in terms of having the platform to express it. In Nigeria, as we speak, people are already being funded to promote LGBT voices. So, you know the truth. Say the truth. Say the truth. I like you as an individual, but I hate this part. But that's the truth. There's no nice way. No. I will not chase you out of my house. No. I will give you rent. You will rent my house. I will employ you. But guy, after giving you the job, the letter, I will tell you, you are not doing the right thing. This is not what God designed for you. So I sympathize, or rather I commiserate with Nigerians living abroad at this time. Because where you are going to hear these things we're saying, you cannot put more, you can't pay for the space. Whereas you can easily go on air, free of charge, to talk about homosexuality. So it's a very difficult position they found themselves. But like I say, 0 to 6, take advantage of it. 7 to 12, take advantage of it. So that by the time your child becomes a 13, 12-year-old, you would have entrenched your values into them. You know, value, like I say, value does not exist until it is tested. You agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Untested value is no value. The only reason you can say you have a value is when the value has been tested and is still standing. So for many of us, and even Christians, some of the things we profess is because they have not been tested. When those things are tested, you find out that, come on, it was never there. You know, Scripture says, if you faint in the days of adversity, there was no strength in you in the first place. So you were told, don't sleep with a boy, you don't sleep with a boy. Okay. And then you found out that, you can actually sleep with a boy, and okay. So you had values, isn't it? But that value, there was a counter value, and your value went prostrate.
All right. Before the question, our guest speaker. Oh, thank you. Who did that for me? Love you. All right. Our guest speaker has a book, and very good one, forward by Simi, the popular artist, mentored by him. You know, so.
Please don't give me the credit. That is not mine, no.
Yeah. When fishes climb trees, the price for moving our kids out of their comfort zone in pursuit of their courses, career, and a life they are not wired for. 5,000 naira. So you may do you good to buy. So we'll go ahead with the questions.
That was a commercial break, ba? Brought to you by
Tri Village.
Okay. All right, questions.
Number one. Okay, go ahead.
Microphone.
Hello, sir. You mentioned something that I'm very curious about. You said your daughter asked you a question that what is the benefit of virginity? Well, I understand it, but I want you to explain it to me so that I'll be able to explain it to a child.
Hey, why are you doing this?
Not in my context, because
Why
I know,
are you
I
setting me
don't
up?
know how to break that down because I've been thinking about it.
Okay.
So should we take another one?
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, just one question online. So
You are number two? Yes. Okay, please use the
you can just come forward if you just come forward, so we don't have to move around.
Thank you so much, sir. I have a 7-year-old, and we have this thing that we call Farm Teddy Crew, just a club between us three.
Farm.
That it's just we give it an acronym. They give it an acronym. So it's the idea behind it for me was I wanted them to be very open, to tell me all their secrets.
Why do they?
My children.
Oh, okay.
So me and my children and their dad, and I've now gotten the secrets. Yes, and I'm now overwhelmed because my son came to meet me and he said, "Mommy, I have a crush on a girl. Her name is this. She's my. I really like. I can't talk to her. I don't know how to approach her. And where I'm coming from, you slap." Before the came out of
He
your
has
mouth.
even enjoyed so much.
You know, it's slap. I don't know how to put those words for my mother, you know.
Okay.
But my son, and this is what I wanted. So I'm trapped because I don't know how to say, you are too young to have crushes. Focus on your academics. So I said I will throw it here. I hope he's not hearing because if he's hearing, I'm finished. But I really need to know because I so far, I have told him, you know, it's natural to have crushes. It's what you really do with it. But I'm not even really sure what I'm even saying. So.
You're sounding like somebody who went to spy on her husband's phone and saw what she was looking for. And now, you see me, who were living well before. Now I went to try the phone. Now we cannot live well again. Anyway, these two questions are jump questions. So let me take her. Yeah, I think you started well. That your child knows the word crush means they know the meaning. So, what is a crush? Can somebody help? Eh? Is what? That's it. Special likeness for someone. Yeah. And it, huh? Likeness and attention. Yeah. So now it's your turn to also express your own crush. You had crushes, right? Good. The difference now is that he is expressing his crush. You, sorry? I said you had a crush with the Holy Spirit. So your experience, obviously, if you manage it well, then this is a testimony time for you. So, first of all, I'm happy. This is between you and I, not him. But if you like, tell him. It's good he's having a crush, and the person he's crushing is a woman. So, so now, if you noticed when they were reading my introduction, they said he's married to a woman. Yes, is an emphasis. Yes. So take it up from there, and then explain that. Look, this feeling will go away. Yeah, you're going to meet another person. That's the truth. And you will still have this feeling. It will go away. Now, mind you, parenting, there's no vacuum. You're still doing every other thing you're doing. Building values, principles, family culture, godly principles. So, 7. You have 4 years to go. Or 5. Uh-huh. So by the time he becomes a teenager, that girl would have disappeared from his life now. Uh-huh. So don't scatter your head. All right? Now, I may have to be personal here, right? I didn't have a girlfriend. My wife was the only person I proposed to and married. I didn't court. Yes. Very limited. As in. Now listen to this. Listen to this. From my point of view, his father raised me spiritually, and he's a deliverance minister. So, demons are always flying around. Fantastic man. And I borrowed so much from him. Should I go on? Fantastic guy. Fantastic. No beef, no grudges. No, I can tell you that. One of the things he said was, he said, let the prince of the air, in deliverance now, come and find nothing. So that was how we grew up. And it helped a great deal. This is my 20th year as I married somebody. So, based on that foundation, when I committed, I didn't need, now this is me, I didn't need counseling to address issue of commitment. Are you with me? Yes, sir. I was so saved that if I say, let's go, you can go to bed. That's me. So, and my wife was in Port Harcourt, I was in Lagos. So we couldn't, there was no courtship, no nothing. But I just knew that I've told the lady in Port Harcourt that I was going to marry her, and she has accepted to marry me. So the next thing was, I can't break this commitment. Okay, we met at a workshop. So I was facilitating. I didn't know this babe was just eyeing me. You know. So when I was done facilitating, she too, her group, she was leading her group. So I was like, who is this babe that is just playing? So I just had something. Now listen, you don't need to take this to the bank. If you marry this babe, that was how I got married. Yes, it was as flimsy as that. But one of the boxes I wanted to tick was I wanted to marry a very humble person that I could see on the spot. Now, let me not take you through all the story, but eventually, so I used to tell people that you can love a dog. Do you agree with me? Yes, sir. You can love a dog. Huh? So when you say, I don't love her anymore, it's a decision. It didn't follow you. You decided. So I am actively, please, can you say it again? Yeah, actively choosing love. Yes. I actively decided to love, So I'm building a foundation for your question. So what have I missed as a married man? We are two sexually naive couple. But anything I don't know now sexually, I don't want to know it. So I don't know what I'm missing sexually speaking. Are you with me? Yeah. So now one of the reasons one of the reasons I can't, no, let me use a better sentence. One of the reasons I am not side chicken. The day I try it, I don't leave my wife. You know what? I would have tasted what I should not have known. So when you invite me to come to this seminar and learn how to do all these ties, sorry, I'm not missing anything. Because the day you know what you're missing, that's the day you enter trouble. There's really nothing you're missing. So the beauty of marrying as a virgin is that there's no comparison. I don't know. There's nobody I'm comparing my relationship with. No. There's nobody. Sorry, are we still streaming?
Yes.
I hope my wife is not watching this.
Okay.
Okay. When I hear people talk about, this style, this. See, my wife, if you compare to what I hear, I think we are novices. But we are enjoying this novice level. I'm okay with this novice level. Because anything past this one, I beg. So this, I have not explained this to my daughter. But what I just told her simply is that the more you have sex with people, the more you take away. As in, you don't just have sex. A part of them follows you. Yeah. So one of the things I'm happy with that, there's no woman following me. And I'm very honest. No woman is following me. I don't have fantasies of anybody I've slept with. As in, there's nobody. And I'm fine with it. But you see, it's a privilege. It's not by power. You get it? It's a function of, I could not afford the lifestyle. Are you with me? Yes, sir. So, if you grew up in the kind of house where we had no room to practice anything. Sir? You know, I went to the missions house quite early. So I was living with nuns and priests. So even if you want it, there's no opportunity to practice it. So we were not, it wasn't as if we decided. No. There was no opportunity. So we just ended well. You get what I'm saying? So, so you don't have to rub it in. You don't have to be shoulder pad about it, right? But the truth is, if you can, these are the plus. There's no opportunity to compare. And then naivety, sometimes, if not all the time, is good. Yeah, sexual naivety is good. Because I remember there's a friend, the day I was getting married, he told me this. He said, Kingsley, I'm happy for you Christians. He said, you just enter marriage and whatever you see, just take it. I wish I could do that. Because this is my guy. The guy really, he tried. He tried very well. And so when he was telling me this, I said, wow. And I told my daughter this as well, that this is what someone told me when I was getting married. And I think it's, so that's it. So every other thing is technical details, which I'm not sure we want to go into. But the truth is, if you start to push your children towards this line of marry as a virgin, please, you have a lot of work to do. And that work is, anything you're telling them, be sure you're consistent. Be sure you're consistent. Because the day you take her to a party or a wedding where the couple, the bride is pregnant and all of you are rejoicing, you have contradicted your message. Yeah. You've contradicted your message. So you need to be careful.
All right, so
Are we together?
we can't unpack everything about parenting. 1 hour is not enough to do that. Hopefully we'll have another session like this. You just mentioned 0 to 6. It didn't go into details, a lot of details, 7 to 12. Yeah, but we hope we can. So,
But sorry to just, please, if there's anything you must take away, in addition to whatever it is, please strive for influence and not control. Strive to be an influential parent and not a controlling parent. You can't succeed controlling kids. Ma? See, that's what I'm saying. The stick, what is the stick? What is the stick? What stick are we talking about here? It's still born out of the urge to control. You want your kids to fear you and not misbehave. Rather than they loving you to the extent where they love you so much that they don't want to disappoint you. I'll prefer the other one. Are you with me? What is stick? The child threw away the remote control. What is that? That's not the big deal. We're talking about raising a brat. We're talking about raising indulged kids, kids who are not empathetic. Okay, those are the fundamentals. The things we smack over, they are O-level things. You've not taught your child how to be grateful. And you are angry and beating the child for being self-indulgent. You know what I'm talking about? Yes, sir. You've not taught the child how to be grateful. You know, there was an evening we were driving on Isaac John. I deliberately took my daughter through that street. We're coming from Protea. And I waited until those daughters of Zion. They are our sisters, you know. So I waited until they were out and we drove out. So I started looking at her. She was, Daddy. I said, you have seen something, eh? I said, yes. I said, those are sex workers. I said, sex workers? What? As in sex workers? What is that? I told her, they are prostitutes. So I noticed how she was. I said, somebody gave birth to them. A man and a woman. So you want to know how they ended up like that? I said, anybody could have ended up like that. Including you. God forbid, shut up. Nothing like God. You think you're better than them? You're not. Some of them are graduates. Some of them have families they raise. And so by the time I gave her, so be grateful. Be grateful that you're not there. You know, so when we teach children empathy, especially when they're small, they tend to appreciate their life. So all those smacking when a child is feeling, it may not even happen because they know that, look, it could have been worse. I'm happy, you know, I'm using the word lucky again. I'm just lucky that I'm raised by this. My second daughter, she was telling me the other day that one of her classmates, the mom and the dad are not together. So they don't come. Visiting day one comes and the other one. So she said, so daddy, why can't they come together? I say, So you think this one that me and your mom, we're always chasing people. You think it's beans? It's not beans. This is what happens when parents separate. Say, say yes. So she now appreciates the fact that her parents. And on a closing, from my end, I don't know, parenting begins with a stable relationship. Once you have a stressful marriage, you're gonna have children who are exhibiting this stress. The mood in the house will be tense. And one thing children are gifted in is they can pick all the vibes. Just flash back to when your parents were always how you feel. That's the same way your children are. In fact, now it's like their own antenna is so build a healthy relationship, and on the strength of that healthy relationship, begin to parent properly. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Because of our time, we can only take two more. Then Pastor Fedi will ask his question, then close the session. For those of us who raised our hands and you won't be able to ask your question, you can forward the question to myself.
Somebody is protesting, though. Please, let's take him. I beg, let him ask that question.
Yeah, so
please.
Okay, because
yes, authority override.
No problem. So, but let's do it this way. So, what's your number? 6.
I'm taking your question.
So 45. Oh, number 3. So 3, 4. We have nine people, right? You want to ask?
That's serious.
9. Yes.
Okay, let's see them.
If your question has been answered already.
They should ask. That's a new couple. They should ask.
Okay, 3.
Yes.
Then which 4?
Okay.
4.
Intending couple. Who else?
Who else?
Who else? You have to. Jeffrey should ask.
Hey. Okay, so maybe the response will be short, sharp. So if you need to stretch it, then you can now follow up, right? So we can leave.
There are some questions I think I was hoping that we could do like a 30 minutes with you. I feel that there might be people here who might not want to ask questions, but want to meet you. And we'll be glad because there's a lot of wealth of experience here that we can all borrow from. So for people who just knew that there is the need to have that one-on-one, these are privileges that we can enjoy. Yeah. But my own question that I wanted to ask was specifically to discipline. Yeah. But in 21st century, discipline is a little complicated. Yeah. Right, and I think most people spoke about it, and you touched about it a bit, but knowing I beat when I'm very frustrated, but I hardly get frustrated.
Fantastic.
I hardly get frustrated. So sometimes I'm trying to, because my kids, my first one is a little precocious and a little out, like I see him, I see the energy, and sometimes I'm trying to, okay, how do I channel this? But you spoke about, and I know that a book I read, a man said something about parenting is a relationship before it's a rule. So when you spoke about having that sense of build that relationship and conversation, right? Yeah. So that it's easy to discipline because you have something to draw from, right? But just even knowing how far is too far. right? And the second thing you spoke about was people maybe have had like many wealth of experience before they got married. Now this is people with like multiple body counts, right? And they might be having cases where when the past comes calling. I don't know if there are steps you would recommend for people to say to fight the memories or the fantasies of the past so they can stay faithful in marriage. Are there things to speak to in that context?
Okay. That's a section. That question is a section question. Quickly, I'll share my experience. My wife smacks, but my kids fear me the most. And I use the word fear for lack of a better word. Now, my children would rather not offend me because I love them and I show it. I hug, I peck, I carry, I fart when we are watching movies together. Hello? I hope you didn't hear what I said. Did you hear? No, once you fart, you trigger the farting competition. Everybody start to fart now. So I try to make myself vulnerable. So when my kids misbehave, I don't see it as, I see it as somebody that needs help. So do you smack someone that needs help? It's a question. Do you smack somebody who you know this person needs help? Huh? So it's obvious this thing is an, you can't help yourself. So you've done it. So why should I smack you? Somebody that I should be helping. And then the feeling. You can't feel good after smacking a child unless you are scoring somebody. So if you're truly a normal person, when you smack a child, you should feel bad. So is that a feeling I want to be having? No. Smacking is stressful on its own. So those are some of the things I was able to address at those early stages. So, so when my kids misbehave, I see it as you couldn't help it. And what are these behaviors? They're not really so much of a big deal. Now, for those of you who think girls are easy to parent, I'm sorry. Don't let anybody fool you. You see those people that when they are angry, they don't talk. Fear those people. And girls are like that. They will not express, they just be looking at you. You know that I just pray as you are leaving, may you not come back. So discipline works better when it's built on relationship, 1. 2, when it's built on trust. 3, when you have set the rules. For instance, there are some homes, you don't even know what is wrong and what is right. Anything. Get out. Sit down. What can we do right in this house? Because everything seems wrong. So if we know the ground rules, we know that, okay, we all go to bed at 9. That is bedtime here. So, yes. So when you are awake at 9, you know you're breaking the rule already. So I need to find out. Hello? You're supposed to be sleeping. Daddy, sorry. There's this assignment I needed to just... Okay. It's understandable. I sleep at 8:30. 9 the most. I know what you're thinking. Don't worry. Leave it. It's my life. That's the reason I've not died. I wake up 3 o'clock, no matter when I go to bed. So I realized that it will pay me to go to bed early and wake up 3. So if I wake up 3 and I see your missed call, I'll send you a message. Are we together? So I found out that it works for me. Yeah. So set the rules. Let the rules be clear. And then know the difference between what is wrong versus what you don't like. Sometimes you don't like it, but there's no problem with it. And children suffer for what you don't like. That is actually not a crime. Anyway. Okay, you asked the second question. Discipline and which one again? Oh, body count stuff. Oh, yeah. I think, like I said, I have limited experience in that department. But I think when couples come to terms with all of these things, they are easy to manage. It still boils down to vulnerability. Are you vulnerable to one another? Once you can be vulnerable, I think you can create the pathway for all of this. And then don't be too big to seek external help. I don't believe in don't allow third parties into your... I don't believe in that. Kingsley, say so. Choose the third parties you want. Yeah. The reason you're giving visa into a country is because they want to choose who should enter the place, isn't it? So give visas to people you want into your marriage, and then make sure they are able to contribute. You get what I'm saying? So that it can, that's just but don't be too big to ask for help in that department, okay? Somebody else was raising. Okay.
Guys, we are not going that route. This is the thing. This is what I think we need to do. If you're married, right, you will prioritize you. Right, will prioritize you. Or if your parents will prioritize you. Because you're dealing with reality. And I don't want us to deprive every other person that might want to have that one-on-one. Right? He's still here at least for another 30 minutes, 1 hour. And I know, so we'll have him in that room. And you guys can have like your one-on-one. But there was somebody that was burning with question. I hope your question is, if that has been answered, I will know. Yeah, the book has wisdom. There are answers there. Huh? So the married ones. Okay, please give him the mic. There has to be reward for diligence. But I can keep it simple. Okay. You're always a simple man. Give back a mic. Okay.
It's just my way of life. Thank you.
Congratulations.
So, thank you very much, sir. My ring is still fresh.
Very fresh.
So my question is, I know that you spoke about we should have values that we teach the kids at a certain age. I know that for upcoming parents, I know you have some ideas of some values that you want to share. But at this, I don't want to forget some. So do you have like some values that this one you need to tell the child between 0 to in this one you need to know?
No, it's not a hard and fast rule. You know, it begins with your personal values in the first place. So you need to state.
I know. As I'm saying, I know that aside, is there some I might forget some.
Okay, some that are not. Okay.
Yeah, some that they are very important. Okay, this you need to. Do you understand?
I think for every child, if you have worked in rehabs, if you've met deviant kids, and I'm using that word for lack of a better word. One of the problems, one of the gaps I observed is some get to a point where they become self-entitled. Sure. It's like the world owes them. And if they can't get that from the word, hey, heaven must fall. So early in life, teach your kids gratitude. Teach your kids how to be grateful. Very important. Everything will fall in line. Teach them empathy. They're both together. When a child is grateful, when a child is empathetic, the child will learn to be grateful. And the child can, once in a while, put themselves in people's shoes. And one easy way to teach empathy, you know how to do that? Take your child to where, who said something? What did he say? Yeah, take your child to the hospital. Maybe they're not too small. Yeah, kids are not allowed in prisons. Take your child to the street. Let them see another side to life. It can be in a movie. Let them see and ask questions. Daddy, I saw a child with cancer. Yes. There was a boy I was working with some time ago. Very self-entitled. And we visited the cancer ward of Lasut. We met some kids, a particular girl who was on chemotherapy. That was all the boy needed to shift. And the shift was... because that could be you. That girl didn't do anything to suffer cancer. So empathy is important. Gratitude, respect. Respect. Express true, allowing people, the Bible talks about prefer one another, Let your children respect people. And most importantly, greeting. Teach your children to greet. In fact, the times I've really punished my kids was when they didn't greet. Yes. My children can kill you with greeting now. You literally disarm people by greeting them. Do you know? You can disarm anybody by greeting them. So teach your kids to show respect, starting with greeting people. The rest, like I said, the list is endless. But these are just what I've done, and it helps. My children know that God is helping us. Yeah, because when we give out handouts, they know that we could be the ones receiving these handouts.
Okay, there's something that it has not failed before. They call it 3 magic words. And I think I can summarize. Please, sorry, thank you.
Exactly.
When you spoke about gratitude, and excuse me, right? When you sorry and what?
Thank you.
Thank you. When you spoke about gratitude, you can pick thank you there. When you spoke about learning to appreciate people, that's when I'm very intentional about my kids. Even if they have nannies in the house, they don't talk down on them.
Yeah.
You're not the one paying them. They're older than you. You understand? And let them even accord them the same respect that they would their parents.
Yeah.
So it gives them a healthy sense. Even the driver, don't scream at the driver. You understand? So you have to start teaching them so they don't become entitled, right? And that is where empathy comes in, that everybody carries the image of God and everybody is deserving of respect, regardless of where you meet them, right? So those magic words are things that you have to keep telling them over and over again, let them ingrain it. Something you were speaking to, your question, when you said about virginity, I had that conversation with my kid, and I was telling him that what I thought was there's a spiritual side to sex that you can't always just unpack. But the point again is not you could use preventives, you could use condom, right, and then you can stop disease. So their head knows that part can be trapped. But if sex is as important as intimacy, worship, and something more deeply woven, it was something God wanted us to preserve and keep special for people. Right? So the spiritual, yes, you can't always stop them, but I don't want to introduce it in a way that is spooky and fearful, but I want him to know that it's something that was important, that he just wouldn't just think is gone. Amodupe, your question is very interesting, but I think it's an open window. Even while your child is having a crush on someone, there is one side where he's having a crush. There is yet another response when someone is crushing on him. Mm-hmm. And so it's important to have the conversation on as a two-way street when you have for someone, and when someone is having for you. So, because a girl writes you a letter that she's crushing on you, doesn't mean she has demeaned herself. Honor her, right? And yet, don't necessarily indulge, right? These things can evolve. But it's also important to also use it to talk a bigger conversation of the nature of love, not just being what is intense passion burning, but that commitment and honor and respect to accord people, even when you feel deeply something about them. So I think it's something to throw up there. How do you respond when someone writes you a crush letter versus even when you have, right? Okay, guys, we've taken your question. Pastor Kingsley, I still stick to the plan that we would have the inroad, right, where we can all have one-on-one. Guys, are we good with that? You know. So you think your question, everybody will benefit from it? That if you ask him alone and he gives you wisdom, it's not enough? Is that the point? So are you going there? You want to ask here? No. It's not married people. Married people were meant, parents and married people were meant to ask here. Singles were meant to go and get wisdom. But, well, since your own is burning with lust. No, it's not burning with lust. Since your own is passionate. Since your own is zealous, Pastor, we must indulge. We must take zeal. All right.
No, that's for online. That's for online.
All right, so I had quite a childhood growing up. I'm trying to ask my question around expectations, parental expectations, most especially from my dad. When I was young, in primary school, I could remember, I came 36 out of 36, and he didn't understand the reason that happened. It was not because I was not smart, but I had dyslexia. I couldn't see well from back. So when I was moved into another school, I came third. Yeah, I came third position. And there were lots of promises that were attached to, if you do well, you do this. And it never happened till now. It never happened. No, wait now. Oh, wait. So that thing kind of did something to me. I got to third position and I didn't want to fight for more anymore because I moved from 36 to third and nothing happened. So I was just you understand? And I did not do badly. I didn't do badly, but I don't want because this has affected me so much. I don't want to be that parent that would put that much pressure, because most especially when I don't even understand what that child is really going through.
So what's the question?
The question is, how do I not repeat this pattern when I start raising my kids?
Okay, I think you've answered part of the question, but just to tie it up, is the one of the best things that can happen to a child is to be loved unconditionally. Is for the child to know that they don't have to earn the love of their parents. You know what I'm saying? So, get your kids to the point where they know you love them no matter what, whether they do well or not. My second daughter plays the sax, but she was fumbling in math. And the math teacher kept writing BS. And one day, I got pissed off. I decided to, he didn't know I was just cooking for him. So when it was time to serve the food, I needed my daughter to be available. So I told the guy, I said, do you play the sax? He said, no. I said, can you play the sax? He said, no. Do you know what it takes to play the sax? He said, no. I said, do you think sax is easier to play the sax compared to maths? I said, it's more difficult to play the sax than solve a mathematical equation. And how did I find out? I met a musician who is a mathematician. And the guy told me, Guy, this music, it's tough past maths. I said, this girl taught herself to play the sax. I think she can crack this maths. You just haven't found a way to teach her. Until you find it, please leave her alone and stop writing this. He apologized. Today, that girl, the least math score she's ever had is 60. 60. What's that? Huh? As far as I'm concerned, that 60, in my estimation, is an A. For somebody who was struggling with maths. So, are you with me? So, I don't allow people set unrealistic expectations for my kids. And I don't even do it. So, set expectations that are realistic for your kids. As they meet it, up, up, up. Otherwise, if you allow the reverse, your children will spend the rest of their life living up to people's expectation. You don't want that. Are we together?
Yes, sir. Okay, guys. I really want to commend Modupe and Taiwo. Please clap for them. These are expectations. So this is the inaugural meeting of the village meeting. Right? It's like, and it's not just for premarital, it's pre and post. Right? So we want to keep once a month or once every other month, depends on the frequency of the planning, to do this. Because parenting is an art for which many of us are never taught. And we stumble in. And the best time to learn about parenting is before you start parenting. So you're not doing damage control, because there's a question online where the person is asking, if a child is 12, how do you do the damage control at 12? So they've missed to lay down the foundation. Can I quickly answer that? Okay. So what do we do?
If a child is 12 and you've noticed there's damage based on your negligence, right? Yes. Sit the child down, do an audit, and ask these questions. Have I been the best parents you wished for? Am I the kind of parents you have ever imagined? Are there things I'm doing that I need to change? Are there things I'm doing that you want me to continue doing? Have I ever disappointed you? Do you feel disappointed having me as a father or as a mother? Have we failed you? When your child gives you honest responses to these questions, be ready to look in the mirror and work on them. That way, if you have to apologize to the child. And then learn to build back better, strongly. All right? A lot of parents simply apologizing to the child for failing the child can actually start you on a good ground. But they will never do it. So if you really want to make amends, that's a better way to start.
Thank you very much. So, how many unanswered questions are here? Maury, let's take the number. So, Jeffrey is 1. Who else? Nedu is 2. Okay, you guys still, your questions have not been addressed, right? So, Jeffrey and Chinedu are on queue for the one-on-one. Who else is on the queue for one-on-one? Juliet on queue for one-on-one. Anybody on the queue for one-on-one? No, Chinedu. Chinedu, you can't tempt us into that. Trust me. No, trust me. If the Lord has not revealed it before now, then the Spirit is in all of us. So, guys, we're wrapping up now, right? But you guys, your one-on-one will be great, right? But this will continue. So we might want to have you back, and maybe the next time with your wife, right? To just also have that balanced perspective on parenting. So, guys, let's keep this in. And if you please start pre and post, fine. So once again, thank you very much, everyone. Please celebrate Pastor Kingsley. So Pastor Martins, let's take him there. Guys, enjoy the rest of your day. God bless you all.
So yeah, the book. Please, the book. If you want to get the book, just let me know. Contact me and yeah, we're supposed to. Okay. Or we should take 10 copies if anybody wants to buy.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. You want the book, right? Okay.